What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another training breakdown, and it's Friday at the gym, and we are training. And who is in the gym with us today? We've got Shanna and Marcus training, Nate behind the camera, and you're going to see a little kid named Addison running around with his dad, who's Coach Anthony. Anthony works for Functional Bodybuilding as well. He was getting in an Olympic lifting session while Shanna and I were doing squatting and upper pulling. So it was leg and upper body combined session. And these episodes that we're talking to you about here are all about the why behind what was going on in the training session. So if you're liking these types of video and this type of content where you get to see a little bit behind the curtain of functional bodybuilding, make sure you hit that smash that like button and drop a comment. Let me know what questions you have and I can address them in the comments with you or in future breakdown videos. So let's get started. We're doing a warm-up that involved a little backward sled dragging, some reverse step-ups, as well as dumbbell external rotations. Why step-ups? And what's the purpose of it? Well, I got introduced to the reverse step-up or the Patrick step-up, or in this case, doing a Paulican step-up. And the difference between those variations of reverse step-ups are really just how your foot is positioned on the box. A Patrick step-up would be a flat foot on a box. A Paulican step-up is where your heel is elevated on a slant board, which is what we're doing today. And there's even something called a Peterson step-up where you recreate that angle to your foot, but you don't have a slant board or a wedge. You just kind of press up on your toe as you perform a step down. The other exercise we're doing is this external rotation. So I like this to think about this in the same way that we reverse out of knee pain. When you're doing an external rotation, a lot of people have shoulder pain or maybe even elbow pain as a result of a lot of internal rotation of their shoulder. Internal rotation from throwing, for example, or from tennis, or from golf. So golfer's elbow, tennis elbow, issues that people have with throwing excessively in throwing sports, or just posturally, they're in internal rotation, or they do a lot of internal rotation exercises in the gym, not balanced with a lot of external rotation. Well, when you have a lot of internal rotation, you can get pain in certain parts of your shoulders and your elbows. It would make sense that strengthening the external rotators through an external rotation exercise like these that you're seeing, you would add resilience and help somebody who could find themselves in these compromised positions be stronger. So I like these two exercises on a lower body squat dominant day and an upper body pulling day because we're basically prepping those two joints for these particular actions and kind of giving them some bulletproofing, some resilience. After wrapping up our warm-up, we are jumping into back squats. Today, the choice was to use the Smith machine for the back squat as opposed to a free barbell back squat. Why did I choose the Smith machine over the barbell back squat? And this is really a choice that was made weeks and weeks prior to this. I started a new training build. I was using the Smith machine, and I chose the Smith machine simply because I wanted a version of the squat that was going to allow me to stay extremely upright. There are other ways to get at this, like a front squat or a heel elevated squat. However, with the Smith machine, because the barbell runs on tracks and the footwear selection that I chose, particularly with the elevated heel wedge of an Olympic lifting shoe, I could position my feet, use that track that the Smith machine glides on to stay very upright, a very vertical squat. What that does for me is it makes this a quad dominant squat, and that was what I wanted to get out of it over the course of a 6-week training build. Now, you don't have to do that, and you might prefer to do free weight barbell squats, and at some point in a training progression in the future, I will use the free weight barbell squat as well, but that was the focus and the reason why we were using it, to make it a more quad dominant squat. The rep scheme and the loading scheme for this over those 6 weeks has been as follows. Every week, I would build up over the course of 4 to 5 warm-up and building sets to a top set, tough set of 6. So every week it was build up to a heavy set of 6, aim for more than I did the previous week by anywhere from 2 to 5 to 8 pounds. And then once that top set of 6 was hit, back off to a lighter weight and perform one set where we max out on repetitions, or a AMRAP set. The next portion of training was pull-ups. So we did straight sets on our back squats. We were done with that. We moved on to doing pull-ups. And the set and rep scheme here was to do 4 sets of weighted pull-ups in the 4 to 6 rep range. So lower reps, all of them meant to be tough. If you got 6 reps on the first set, then you would add a little bit of weight. And the goal here is really strength building for the upper body, the lats, the pull-up. When to use weights, when not to use weights in your pull-ups. Well, pull-ups are a really tricky movement for so many people. And I see a lot of people skipping out on progressive overload in their pull-ups because getting their first pull-up and getting 5 pull-ups always feels hard. It always feels like, man, I just really have to work to get my body weight up over this bar. But if you're doing sets of 5 every single week or sets of 4 to 6 every single week and you're just using your body weight, you're potentially missing out on the opportunity to progressively overload by adding small fractional weights with each set. Even just putting a 1-pound weight plate in your pants or putting a 5-pound plate wrapped around a band around your waist. Adding just these small little increments can actually make a big difference in your strength development for your upper body. I think it's a missed opportunity for a lot of people when they do upper body strength training, body weight movements, that a body weight movement like a pull-up or a dip is no different than any other exercise that you might do with a barbell. You want to keep making incremental progressions to your weight on that, and that looks like using plates or adding small fractional amounts of weight because your body weight isn't going up each week, and therefore you don't always have to just progress in reps. You can progress in load on something like the pull-up. Last up for today was a final superset that Shanna and I did, which was single arm lat pull down and seated leg extensions. The leg extensions were going to target the quads, a muscle group that was taxed in those Smith machine back squats, and then the single arm lat pull downs, obviously going to exhaust and tax the lats, which were trained in the weighted pull up. So we're choosing a superset and some accessory exercises or some additional exercises that are going to target the same muscle groups to get an adequate amount of intensity and volume for that muscle group for the day to add to our total workload for the week. I like doing a single arm pulling exercise to go along with the double arm pulling exercise. So weighted pull up 2 arms, single arm lat pull down. I find the single arm lat pull down and the way that we were performing it to provide a great stimulus to the lats. You get a massive stretch. We're reaching up as high as we can, pulling that elbow down as low as we can. It works great for me. If you haven't tried it before and you have access to a cable machine, give it a try. The rep range was 15 to 20 reps on those, and the same rep range on the leg extension, 15 to 20 reps. Now, the leg extension, the position that I was choosing was one where I was leaned very far back. I was trying to get as far back as I could with the way the machine sets up because I wanted to have the most possible hip extension while I was performing those knee extensions or leg extensions as they're called. And why is that? Well, the quads cross the knee and they cross the hip. When you stretch out the portion of the quad that crosses the hip, and then so the upper quad is in a stretch position and you're contracting through the sort of lower quad or the knee extension, that creates a deeper stretch when you're in the fully stretched position at the bottom of each repetition, which has been shown in other movements like the seated versus the lying hamstring curl to give a greater stimulus. And again, not that you have to be a master of biomechanics to understand this, but training muscles through different ranges and different positions I think is valuable. And so this one, leaning all the way back or as far back as I could on the leg extension machine to get a stretch position in the quads. And now to round out this pump style training session, I did a functional pump conditioning workout, which was again focused on the same general muscle groups that we used in the training. There was walking lunges with a sandbag, there was body rows on a straight low pull-up bar, and then a little bit of cardio in the form of a bike. Shanna had to bow out for this section of training. She was training some personal training clients, so I was at this alone. Basically, the format was 15 minutes of continuous work, perform the walking lunge down and back with the sandbag, perform the same repetitions, about 20 reps of body rows, and then get on the bike and ride it for 500 meters. And I didn't go at a fast pace. I just kind of kept moving with a focus on good quality contractions in each exercise. And this is typically how we bring conditioning into pump style training in Persist. The goal being I want to add quality volume with some intensity to the upper body pull, as well as the lower body and quad dominant or quad focused exercises that we've done all day. And we're going to mix in some cardiovascular component like the bike. So went through all those. That was the circuit. After 15 minutes, shut it down, did a little bit of stretching, and that was the training day. So from start to finish, we warmed up the shoulders and the knees. Then we moved into heavy squats, followed by heavy upper body pulling, weighted pull-ups, and then a superset of leg extensions, along with single arm lat pull downs, and finally that functional pump conditioning. That's how we do pump. Thanks, Shanna, for joining me, and thank you for listening and watching. Again, if you have questions, ask them down in the comments. Hit the like button so that let me know whether you enjoyed this episode. And if you didn't enjoy the episode, don't hit the like button. Tell me how much you hated it down in the comments. That helps the algorithm too. I'll see you next time.